The ego is the phantom that keeps us trapped in the illusion. The confused observer in the sea of stimulation. We are born into a sea of stimulation, of aggravation, of information, which perpetuates the cycles of thought, which has us identifying with the ego, the actor, our somebodyness, right? So we think we're somebody. We think we're somebody doing something. We think things are happening to us. We think we're in control. We think we know. All these are attachments which keep us trapped in a lower limiting perspectives, which keeps us trapped in the illusion, which keeps us caught in the cycles of suffering, which keeps us caught in the cycles of rebirth. Did I lose you yet? Let's start at the beginning, shall we? Let's start at the beginning. So we have, of course, the circle. As the Tao says, stay in the center of the circle and allow all things to take their course. Be the observer in the center, detached, thoughtless. Be the divine. Allow God to work through us by being the observer and not being attached to anything. We are truly the observer. We are the confused observer. Why are we the confused observer? Well, we're going to get to that. Because we're born into a sea of stimulation. When we are born, we are detached. We are the observer. We are detached. We are thoughtless. We are God observing itself. But we are born into a sea of stimulation. And all the stimulation that surrounds us in the illusion starts to perpetuate the cycles of thought. We start thinking, and as soon as we get caught in these cycles of thought, this is what the purpose of the sea of stimulation. The illusion needs us stimulated, aggravated with information to have us identifying with our ego self, with our somebodyness, with the actor. The illusion needs us to be caught in the cycles of thought, to be identifying with the ego, because this is what keeps us trapped in the illusion. We start to attach to these things that keep us in lower limiting perspectives, right? We think we're somebody doing something. We think we know. We think we have control. These are all lower limiting suppressive perspectives that keep us caught in the illusion and make us easier to control. This is very important. When we think we know, this destroys our common sense and makes us easier to control when we're in suppressed, limiting, lower perspectives. Because this allows them to, the illusion, the controllers, whoever you want to call them, to manipulate us in wrong ways that keeps our consciousness suppressed. So this is the sea of stimulation. We are truly God observing itself. We are the observer. It's just that all this stimulation we are born into perpetuates these cycles of thoughts that gets us trapped thinking we're somebody doing something, thinking we're in control. Remember, control is an illusion perpetuated by the cycles of thought. Because what happens when we stop thinking? You surrender. What is practicing presence? Presence, being the observer, is surrender. And we realize when we become the observer enough, when we empty the mind and allow the divine to work through us, we start to realize we're all just simply nature running off. We are just chemistry and conditioning. We are just chemistry and conditioning just running off, karma running off. We're not really in control. We are just acting based off our chemistry and our conditioning. Our conditioning reacts to our chemistry, you know what I mean? When you try to change, your conditioning can change as you get more different conditioning. Not all conditioning is negative necessarily either. It's just different types of conditioning, right? There really is no positive or negative. Just like when we talk about bad habits, there really is no bad habits. These are merely habits you have to cope with being out of balance. And a very important factor of our talk today about this sea of stimulation is it makes it very hard to balance. And it makes it very hard to calm the mind. That's why a key proponent of practicing presence and purification is removing the aggravators, right? Remove and facilitating a state of peace, because this is going to allow us to focus on calming the mind. It's very difficult to find balance and calm the mind when we're surrounded by this constant stimulation and aggravation of information. This is why when we do things like reconstitute or empty the mind, it's very important to stop taking in information, because to receive these true divine guidance and receive and to receive our divine purpose and to allow the divine to guide us, which is our divine purpose, we need to empty, reconstitute the mind and allow space for these higher, deeper understandings. So it is very difficult to balance. This is why eventually we start to realize, okay, if I need to balance in this sea of stimulation, I have to start removing some of these things that are stimulating me. I have to start stepping away from scrolling on social media. I have to start stepping away from watching video after video on YouTube or TikTok or whatever it is. I have to step away from maybe TV shows. Violence is, aggravating and stimulating on TV show. It doesn't matter. I'll just fake drama. It's all just stimulation for the mind, really. And what do we want to do is facilitate a state of peace. Presence and purification are the foundation of escaping the illusion, because through presence, through surrender, which is giving it all up to God and detaching, we start to dissolve the ego. Every moment in presence is a moment we are dissolving this hardened perspective that is created through the sea of stimulation and aggravation and information, which has us in this hardened, limited, lower perspective. When we are in presence, we start to dissolve this and start to slowly move toward the center of the circle, right? And so it's very hard, but we need to work on our balance to do all this. And purification is part of the balance. And purification works with presence. Remember, two of the highest devotions to our cosmic beloved are presence and purification. Why? Presence, surrender, is literally giving it all up to God. And that becomes the only thing we really there is to do. Because anytime we even try to do a little bit, I'm going to try to do this, I need to think about that, you're going to get caught in the cycles of thought, and it's going to keep you caught in some sort of attachments. And any attachment's going to keep us caught in lower limiting perspectives, going to keep us caught in the illusion. So we really have to practice presence and purification as a point to surrendering completely, which is easier said than done, because we are so used to being attached to thinking, to our ego self. Our ego has such a stronghold on us that it gets so frightened when someone comes along and talks about dissolving the ego and giving it all up, giving thought up, giving control up. Our ego shudder at the thought of giving up control as an illusion. We don't have control. Your ego is like, no, I have control. I don't know. What is surrender? What is surrender? What is complete surrender? Giving up the illusion of control. Why does the Tao say stay in the center of the circle, be the observer, and allow all things to take their course? Allow nature to run off. That's what it's saying. It's saying because that's being detached. It's telling us to be detached, because otherwise you're going to get caught in this endless cycle of thoughts, of suffering and of rebirth. And you're just going to keep coming back round and round again. So that is why we are the confused observer in the sea of stimulation, because we are truly the observer, but the sea of stimulation has us confused because it has us caught in these cycles of thought, which keeps us identifying with the actor, the ego, our somebodyness, which gets us thinking we're somebody doing something or that we know or that we're in control. And which does what? Which keeps us in lower limiting perspectives. It all works together, my friends. So how do we deal with this sea of stimulation? Remove the aggravators. This is why I talk about this all the time. Recognizing and removing things that are stimulating and aggravating us, which is primarily what? Information. Right? And again, if we want to receive deeper understanding and clarity, we need to reconstitute or empty the mind. We need to do the opposite of what we've been told. We got to stop taking in information. Our minds are too full to receive true communication from the divine. If we want to open up the channels of communication with the divine, we have to purify the vessel and we have to empty the mind. This allows this flow of communication to be opened up, right? Because remember, two of the biggest devotions to God, I think I got off track there. Presence, surrender, because surrendering is the highest erosion. That's giving it all up to God. God, I trust you completely to give it all up. My thoughts, thinking about the future, thinking I need to do anything, thinking I need to go after money, doing anything, worrying, stressing about anything. I give it all up. I'm going to be the ultimate observer, God observing itself, letting the divine higher self work through this vessel, right? One of the second highest devotions to God is purification. Why? Because this is a blessing of a vessel of God, and everything is God. So if everything is God, through presence and purification, I am God's eternal love pouring forth. We are unconditional love pouring forth unto everything and everyone, right? And through purification, we are showing God we love our cosmic beloved so much that we are treating these vessels with the utmost care and just lovingness, unconditional love ourselves, to completely purify them and get them as healthy and strong and vibrant and energetic as possible, which works with and helps facilitate presence and surrender. Remember, to calm the mind, one of the aggravators is physical aggravators, right? Things we take in, either eating, drinking, or put on our skin, whatever. So these can aggravate the mind as well. So it's hard to practice presence and calm the mind when we're aggravating the body as well. It's harder. Again, not saying it can't be done. I'm saying you're fighting an uphill battle if you're ignoring purification and only focusing on presence, unless you have a lot of time to focus on things like meditation, calming the mind, mindfulness, and presence, things like this. They work together. They really do work together. Like in the Essene Gospel of Peace, where Jesus talks about purification specifically, and talks about eating things like fruits, right? Because fruits cleanse and purify the body. A lot of misinformation about what is the correct diet, what is healthy, what should we be eating. And that a lot of that, our understanding on the correct diet, comes back to this whole thing, because we are so trapped in our egos, we think we know that, and we are so attached to eating certain ways that we've lost common sense. We've lost true common sense. To have true common sense, we have to have no biases or attachments. If we still have any biases or attachments remaining, we're just going to gravitate toward a diet that still allows us to mess around with our attachments. If we're still attached to eating meat in some sort of way, we're just gonna find someone that says eating meat is healthy. That's all we're gonna do. That's still a bias and attachment. It's very hard to get rid of all of our biases and attachments. I ate meat most of my life. I ate a high protein diet, meat, anything you can imagine, eggs, processed food, whatever. And I was able to get to the point where I said, I don't need to eat meat. I'm not attached to it. Whatever makes sense to me, whatever seems most common sense is what I'm going to focus on. And that's what happened. I got to the point where, like, I'm not attached to anything. Let's see what makes sense. Let's see. No animals cook or process their food. Makes sense to me. I don't see any humans killing cows with their bare hands and eating them raw. Doesn't make sense to me. These fingers are made for picking and peeling fruits. Makes sense to me. True common sense. Heating or cooking our food, drinking milk from cows. No other animals drinks milk. This just, to me, I'm just giving examples of true common sense. And this is how we escape some of these cycles. It's important to get to the highest levels of purification to regain true common sense, which we can do through presence. Presence and purification, even if we're not doing, we're doing some purification, but we can, anyway. Presence and purification, they work together. This is how we escape our attachments, our ego selves in these lower limiting structures and perspectives, right? And this is how we get back to the center of the circle, the observer. We're the confused, the observer in the sea of stimulation. So we have to facilitate a state of peace as much as possible, remove stimulation, right? Do things like get out in nature, put away technology, be as peaceful as possible. We have to do things like stop taking information and to reconstitute or empty the mind. All these things work together. We have to do things like purification, cleansing the body, stop taking in acidic, aggravating, mucus-forming type foods and start putting in cleansing foods, start taking in do things, more clean water and clean fruits, right? Hydrating, alkaline, electric type foods and vegetables, leafy greens, things like this. These will help cleanse and detoxify the body. We need to detoxify our bodies, which are just congested with lifetimes of eating wrong stuff. And it's not going to be a quick process. People think you can do this in a week or in a month. I've been doing it for 5 years and I've got a long ways to go. It takes a long time because you're trying to undo a lifetime, just like it takes a long time to undo all the programs in your mind. It's going to take the rest of your life probably, because we're dealing with some serious heavy programming that's designed to keep us caught in the matrix, keep us caught in the illusion, to keep us controllable. So to undo this, to reconstitute, to empty the mind, it's going to be a long process. Practicing presence, emptying the mind, getting a calm mind, it's a gradual work in progress. Remember, taking away the aggravation, taking away the stimulation, purifying the body, getting facilitating a state of peace. All these things work together, and it's just a process. We have to be gentle and calm with ourselves. We have to accept where we're at, right? We have to accept. There's no need to worry about where we're going to go or oh, I got to envision this. You don't have to try, my friends. You don't have to try to do anything. If you're trying to do anything, you're attached. Remember, what is the greatest devotion to God? Complete surrender, which is not trying to do anything, which is giving it all up, giving everything up. Thought, worry, care, fear, anything, trying to do anything, and just remaining present, thoughtless, detached, and allowing God, the divine higher self, to work through us. This is the highest thing to do. And it really literally requires us to do nothing, really, in a sense, right? To try to do nothing. You don't have to try to do anything. You just have to practice presence and purification and allow the divine to work through us. You don't have to try to manifest anything. Presence and purification, naturally raising your vibration, will naturally allow the right things to come to you, the right people, the right opportunities, all these things. You don't have to try to chase money. You don't have to try to make money. Money is another trap of the illusion to the material world. Does that mean I could quit my job and not do anything? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, don't worry about it. I'll be the observer and do what you got to do. You're in a current job. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your job is. I made a video. Your job doesn't matter, because really the only thing we're ever doing is anything we're doing for God, and we're doing in the present moment and allowing the divine to work through us. Whatever we're doing, it doesn't matter what we're doing. We're just trying to stay present in anything we're doing. We're doing the dishes. We're doing a job. We do or do not like. It doesn't even matter what the job is, because we're just doing it for God, for the love of God, right? Thank you for joining me, my friends. I haven't made as many videos as I was previously. Been working on my balance. And sometimes that is one of the most important things we can possibly focus on, is our balance. And if we're out of balance, we need to take breaks from certain things. Like for me, I had to take a break from videos because I've been working on my balance. My sleep has been out of balance because I've been detoxifying so much and changing my chemistry. My conditioning is having a hard time dealing with my change of chemistry. So my conditioning and chemistry are fighting back and forth. So it has been quite a challenge for me to find balance to get proper sleep, so I can have better balance during the day and better balance to calm the mind and practice presence. So balance is so important, and which the sea of stimulation makes it very, very difficult to do on purpose. If you look at our world, our cities, our modern cultures, our societies that we're, our prison society, as I like to call it, that we're a part of, is specifically designed to keep us maximally stimulated as much as possible, so we're easier to control. So we're caught in the cycles of thought. We think we're somebody doing something. We think we know. We think we're in control. It's all just a big, dirty, old greasy cycle, guys. It's okay. Remember, be gentle on yourself. Accept yourself for where you're at. You don't need to do anything. Whether you do or do not, it doesn't matter, because whatever happens was always going to happen, because it happens. You don't have to try to do anything. Remember, you are the loving observer. You are God observing itself. We are not in control. Control is an attachment that comes through being caught in the cycles of thought, which is perpetuated by the sea of stimulation. Because what happens when we surrender and when we're present? There is no control. We are just allowing our nature, we're observing our nature and everyone else's nature running off. They just are attached to their somebodyness, so they think they're in control. They think they're doing something. Might be a little confusing. I have many videos on these exact subjects coming at from different angles. Feel free to check them out, my friends. And if they're of any help or any service to you, I am doing my best to practice presence and purification on a daily basis as my main focus, to allow the divine to work through me, to calm my mind, to empty, reconstitute my mind, to allow God to work through me as a vessel, to detach myself, to dissolve the ego. This is the main focus. This is really all there is to do. Anything else we're trying to do is a trap of the ego and the illusion, the sea of stimulation. So let us become the unconfused, not exactly the word I was looking for, observer. Let us become the observer who knows they're the observer, right? Let us become the loving observer, God observing itself. Let us find our state of peace. Let us remove these aggravators. Let us purify these bodies and allow the divine to work through us. As always, I am God's eternal love pouring forth. Namaste.